视频是有录像的啊。那 miss 掉的家庭呢，可以过后呢向小助手要这个视频的连接啊。这样的话我们就不需要就是呃不停的反复的来解释这方面的信息啊。所以我们今天这个演讲呢，每一位嘉宾呢都应该重视起来哈。因为这个视频呢，我们 suppose 是要用1年的啊，就是在这1年当中啊，凡是对 Montreal 比较感兴趣的，想了解信息的，那我们基本上就是把今天的这个分享会的YouTube 链接直接发给这个学生和家长啊。所以说啊，还是要认真对待哈。那为了今天的这个分享啊，我们其实是做了大量的准备工作的啊。我们今天是邀请到我们的2个主教练啊，安东尼和安娜 Sophia 啊，另外呢还有5位学生嘉宾。那今天到现场的呢是安东尼教练，还有一位教练呢是安娜 Sophia 呢，她今天是在线上分享啊。那在线上分享其实效果是一样的啊，我们线下这个和线上对于 Zoom 上的人来讲效果是一样的啊。然后我们的5个嘉宾呢，有1个孩子因为家住的特别远啊，在 Brantford，所以他也是在线上分享啊。其余的4个嘉宾呢，现在已经来到现场了啊。那我们就是为什么要搞今天的这个活动？因为大家都知道，就是我们的3大语言类活动，那如果算作 public speaking 的话，就是4大类。但实际上，我们前一段时间分享的那个 public speaking，它是其他3大语言类活动的一个基础。那么在那个的基础之上呢，你可以继续搞 public speaking 啊。但是如果想有更多的尝试的话，那就是debate Model UN 和这个 Montreal。那之前我们也有分享过debate Model UN，常年呢有这个分享。我们呢今天是第1次就 Leading Tomorrow 和 Leading the Key 选择 Montreal 的这样的一个主题，而且是有学员获奖的队员参与的这样的一个主题来做这个分享。因为大家从这个学校的官网上也能看得到，Montreal 这个活动呢，它对于学生的要求实际上是最高的啊。理论上讲，你要是最小要8年级以上啊，你才可以开始这个学习。那个别的有一些孩子，他的演讲基础比较好，人文的基础比较好，允许他从7年级开始试课。那试过的一些小孩儿也不一定能留下来但是呢，8年级以上的我们是建议大家来尝试。它之所以跟其他的人文类的语言比起来，它的要求比较高就是因为它是涉及到法律方面的一个活动那如果小孩子太小的话呢，他不够理解他对孩子的要求就相对来讲比 debate 比 Model UN 都要高所以很多那个家长因为在孩子小的时候没有机会接触这个事情，那孩子到了8年级以后呢，他已经尝试了其他的活动，比如说 debate Model UN，他已经很忙了，他就没有时间也没有这样的机会再来接触这个 Montreal。所以这个活动对于很多家长来讲，觉得它挺神秘的不是那么的了解。不像就是 debate 和模拟联合国那么容易理解，尤其是对于他们比赛的那个方式在赛场上这种以 team 为单位的这种对抗更是不了解。这个也有情可原，因为我在负责这个模拟法庭比赛这项工作之前，我也不了解我也觉得他们挺神秘。那自从做了这个工作1年多之后，慢慢的我才开始更多的了解到这是一个什么样的活动比赛的方式方方面面，的确有很多是没有接触过的这个人，你没有办法想象的因为它实际上就是模拟的庭审专业性比较强所以它的备赛它整个的组织都要比模拟联合国 模拟联合国和辩论复杂啊，而且比较复杂啊，不是复杂一点半点儿。我们的教练也会解释啊，也会给予解释。但是这项活动呢，对于很多小孩来讲，他一旦掌握了，一旦接触了之后哈，啊，就有一种怎么说呢？你不能说上瘾吧，这个词好像是不是那么的友好。但是呢，就是它是一种真爱啊，一种真爱啊。我们今天现场也是请到了几个孩子，他们都特别忙啊，他们每个人都不是只做一件事情啊，基本上是多面手，什么都做啊。但是呢，模拟法庭这一块呢，就一旦做上了之后，就不愿意放弃啊，它还是有一种魔力在里面啊。那我们今天的这个讲座呢，就是先是5位嘉宾，5个学生分享，之后是我们2个教练系统的讲模拟法庭的比赛啊方式啊备赛啊等等等等大量的信息啊，我们今天要给大家讲。那我们今天第一个分享的是这个 Candice，来，我在我切换成幻灯之前，先让线上的家长看一下你站在这个摄像机对面对大家。对，很可爱的一个小女孩儿。对，我大概认识你有2年了吧？嗯，第一次带她去美国打比赛的时候，她那个时候是刚初学，是吧？懵懵懂懂的就被我们带到美国去了。啊，说第一场比赛的时候都不太知道上了庭应该干嘛啊。但是她非常非常聪明啊，她把每次比赛当中前面听到的东西，她就用到下一场去。啊，她去年还是前年在芝加哥比赛的时候，第一场还不太明白，最后一场拿到了那一场分数最高的一个证人的分数，我如果没记错的话啊，非常聪明的一个小女孩。那好，我们今天呢就由她来先给我们做分享。我现在把屏幕切换到slides。这是我们今天的 agenda 啊，前面是5个学生，后面是2个教练，最后有一个答疑。OK，那我们今天的一个学生和这个 Anna Sophia 是以英文为主，那 Anthony 呢是中英文混啊，就是大概是这样。校长，你还要说什么吗？校长不说了，对，把时间留给学生们。好嘞，然后你这个是翻页的啊，这是翻页的，这是你2个箭头，嗯。对，这个东西呢，线上的人是通过这个东西来听你的声音的啊。好了，可以了。嗯，你也要坐着，
我也想坐着。
想坐着。
Hi, my name is Candace and I go to VSS. Today I'll be talking about my journey in mock trial and maybe inspire you to start your journey in mock trial. It's not working.
你 click 一下那个屏幕。
屏幕也没有用。
Let me do it because of this guy.
Okay, 谢谢. So I started mock trial in July 2023. And not because I was very interested in law or acting, but because I was looking for a speaking activity that wasn't as competitive as the others. When I heard about joining Empire, one of the hardest mock trial competitions, I didn't know anything about mock trial at all, but I signed up anyway. The competition took place in Chicago, and at first I was very confused and lost. But with the help of my teammates and coaches, I learned the process and found it kind of enjoyable. Since then, I've participated in other competitions, including Dominion, IMT, and other Empire competitions. This year, I also joined the International Mock Trial Case Committee to craft cases for international mock trial competitions. Some of my achievements include being a member of the International Mock Trial Case Committee, 2023 Dominion Winter Challenge Finals, and 2024 December IMT Top 5 team. Here are some memories from mock draw. The first one is traveling with friends. Going to a new place together is always very exciting. We explore, try new things, and spend the whole day with each other. And the second memory is the exchanging gifts tradition. So every year at Empire Mock Draw, there's a tradition where all the teams exchange some gifts. Since all the teams come all around the world, including Canada, different states in the US, Korea, and Ireland, it's a very fun way to connect. We trade things like keychains, stickers, and even food. And the third memory is exploring the city after an in-person competition. So we take half a day off to just visit some different places in a new city, like Chicago or Philadelphia. It's a good way to celebrate our hard work, and we also do some shopping. One of my biggest gains from mock trial is public speaking. I learned how to speak in a more confident way and think quicker and deliver better arguments. This helped me in many settings, including school, presentations, and also casual conversations. Another gain is wall knowledge. I gained a lot more knowledge about how trials work and the difference between Canadian and mock trial competitions. Well, it may seem a little specific, but it's very useful in real life. And it's always good to just know a little more than other people around you. And third, I also formed a lot of new connections. There are two segments of connections. The first one is teammates and coaches. Everyone on the Winky Mock Trial team is very supportive and very inclusive. They understand your mistakes and learn and grow with you. The second segment of connections I've formed are professional lawyers, because for some competitions, we go to actual courts to compete, and there will be lawyers that would come to judge us. Some of them are very nice, and they provide us with their contact information. Now, I've talked about my mock trial experience. Why should you do mock trial? There could be many arguments, but a lot of them belong to many other activities too, like debate or Model UN, like speaking skills or analytical skills. The arguments I've provided here are unique to mock trial. The first one is that mock trial is a good outlet for acting. It allows you to express yourself in very creative ways as you act out as a witness. And it's a very good chance to showcase your skills in a legal setting. And number two, it's excellent for gaining courtroom experience. It introduces you to legal concepts, court procedures, and courtroom dynamics, which prepares you for the field later on very well. And third, it's less competitive than other speech activities, like debate, Model UN, or DECA. Therefore, it offers a very supportive environment for you to develop speaking skills without very intense pressure. So here's some advice from me. I think as you first start out mock trial, it's very important for you to know the two distinct roles of a witness and an attorney. So as a witness, your first role is to be a fact provider. You tell a story from your own perspective and explain all the evidence to the judge and the jury. You are also responsible for performing a character and adding some personality and fun to a trial, or else it will be very, very, very boring. And as an attorney, your first role is to be a case architect. You choose the themes, theories, and what you want your witness to say. You're also the challenger, where you object and rebuttal through objection and rebuttals. And if you've never done mock trial before, don't be afraid to try something new. Maybe you'll like it at the end. Also, even if you don't like mock trial at the end, at least A, you understand better what you don't like, and B, you still learn something about mock trial, and it's still good to gain some new knowledge. Also, always remember that every role matters, whether it's a witness, attorney, or even a timekeeper. A mock trial would not proceed without one of these roles. If you are preparing for mock trial competitions, Always remember that knowledge is power. I've seen so many moments where a witness or an attorney just loses their credibility because they forgot one tiny segment in a affidavit. So master your facts and know your affidavit to control the narrative. Also, show your passion. When you have passion, your passion will resonate with people you address to, the jury and the judge. This is very important because even if you have very good arguments, very good themes, and very good theories, but the judge thinks that you don't care and they give you a very low score. And then what turns out is that you lose. So show the judge that you care and show your passion. And third, always remember that mock trial is a symphony. It's not a solo. Mock trial is not won by isolated moments, but it's won by teamwork. So seek out for help when you need help and offer help to your teammates when they need help. And thank you for listening. I hope you learned something new today.
谢谢 Candice。我们最后 Q&A 的环节的时候的，我们一块儿来回答大家的问题，好吧？然后第二个分享的是建宇，我稍微关掉一下，因为想让大家看一下你的形象，然后我再开始 share。哎，这个是建宇同学，他也很忙哦，你也做 debating，也做 Model UN 然后今天又跑到这儿来了，每天都在赶场就是也是非常优秀的一个小女孩子，那好了，我们再重新回到这个 share， 现在应该就是好使的，对，好，可以了，这个。好，
就是按这个的吧？
左右
好，
那个顺序。
好的。
把这个东西能放下。
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Jianyu Yu, and I go to Oakville Trafalgar High School, currently in grade 9. So I've been doing mock trial with Linky for around 2 years now. So before we begin, a simple question: what is mock trial? So to explain it simply, essentially a crime happens, and then we have a few witnesses who see this crime happen. Those witnesses are either going to be acted by you or your teammates. Then we have a few attorneys or lawyers that are there to defend or help protect these witnesses. So they essentially ask questions to these witnesses to tell their story, and they also make very cool speeches that sums up the entire case. Now, a simple question: why should you start mock trial? Some identifying factors. First of all, if you're interested in law. So actually for me, mock trial seemed like a very mysterious activity, like what Pan Lao Shi said before. But I essentially thought that the concept of being a lawyer seemed really cool, so I went to my first competition. But after that, as I got to learn more about law, as I got to learn more from these classes, I found out that I was actually pretty interested in law. So another very important thing in mock trial is that, another very important aspect of mock trial is that it can greatly improve your speaking skills, such as Model United Nations, public speaking, and debate. So I participate in all of these activities, and I think that doing mock trial also greatly improved, for example, my improvisation skills, as well as on-the-spot reacting. And I think with mock trial, something really good with it is that while you're giving these speeches, you also have to have very good analytical skills, right? You're going to be reading through really long cases. You're going to have to find all the evidence in the stories of these witnesses. And through that, you'll have to conduct research on law as well. So through that, you'll be able to develop very good research and analytical skills. So I think those are two very important aspects of mock trial, analyzing and also presenting. So another aspect of mock trial that I also really like is that you get to like collaborate with your teammates, right? You usually have a team of around 4 to like 6 people. And I would say that this team is really what makes like mock trial less scary than other competitions, right? You have teammates that are there to help you, to practice with you, to memorize speeches with you, and also generally to give you feedback and listen to your speeches and be there when you need help. Okay, so a little bit about my mock trial learning process. So same as Candace, we both went to the competition in Empire in November of 2023. We started preparing for that in the summer. By then, I didn't really know anything about mock trial, but in that competition, I learned a lot. And I would say that those in-person competitions really build up your knowledge on what a real trial is like, right? And then I went to many more competitions 2024. And so essentially with mock trial, I started off as a witness. So it's basically storytelling, right? I have to tell the story, and it requires less knowledge of the actual legal concepts, which is why I started with it. But then as I got to see my teammates act as attorneys and as I got to learn more about it, I found myself more comfortable. So then I started doing both roles later on. So here's a slide of like some competitions that I organized. If you want to take a screenshot, you can do that right now. So essentially we have Empire Mock Trial, which is basically one of the largest ones, and it's international, it's really large. So it's the one that me and Candace both went to in 2023. So they have 2 competitions, one's online. And then we have International Mock Trial, which I'd say is like around national, international, because they're online, but they also have people from different countries, and they also have 2 competitions. And then 2 more regional beginner-friendly ones that I'd really recommend you go to if you want to actually try out mock trial and see what it is like is Linky Mock Trial and Dominion Mock Trial. So these are both like around 3 days. Now, some of my achievements and participation mock trial is I won 2nd place witness and 2nd place team at Dominion, 2nd place attorney, and also top 5 teams on INT. And I also founded my mock trial club in middle school, currently in my mock trial club at high school as well. And then I'm also helping organizing the Linky Mock Trial Club. So some experience and gains that I've had from mock trial. So first of all, I was able to learn a lot of different styles of debating and doing mock trial in different countries. For example, American mock trial versus Canadian mock trial, right? There's a lot of different legal concept, a lot of different laws, but at the same time, very different like debating styles. For example, more assertive versus I would say, for example, more calm and more sticking to the layout. And then another huge gain was the friends and teammates that we made in the mock trial community. So I would say that in the mock trial community, we have really amazing team spirits, which is why there's also always the Team Spirit Award in mock trial competitions, right? Because you always have teammates that are there to help you when you're stuck on objection, to help you pass papers, and to help you practice. So that's why I was really much not as scared in mock trial competitions, because I had these teammates behind me. Now, another good experience and good gain that you can get from mock trial is a lot of opportunities. For example, I founded my middle school mock trial club, and my teacher, I think she mainly allowed me to do that because I proved to her that I had a lot of experience in the field. And I'm also currently on my high school mock trial team, and because we have a really large club and only a certain amount of people can participate, my teacher kind of just chose based on experience in mock trial. So I'd say that this definitely helped me. So another thing is it definitely helps with applications. For example, it really helped me with my student council application. I was able to talk about, for example, the awards I got and also the learning process I had throughout mock trial. And also, as Candace mentioned earlier, you can also connect with a lot of professionals in the field. As you can see in that photo, it was in Empire, Chicago. And all of those judges are like real judges out there. And they are always like willing to help you give feedback and also like give you any connections, give you their information if you ever need. So it's a good connection, mock trial. So another important aspect is leadership opportunities. So for me, I'm helping organize the Linky Mock Trial Cup. And I think while it is a very good leadership opportunity, it's also on an activity that I really enjoy. So I think that's just really good, right? Also, when I actually did mock trial, I didn't really know what it was, but now that I'm doing it, I realized that I actually am pretty interested in law and also this activity overall. So like if you don't try it, you're never going to know if you're interested, right? So some memorable moments from these competitions. We went to tour around the United States when we were at Empire. This was us during competition and much more. Okay, so some advice to you guys. First of all, don't be scared to try new roles because you can learn a lot from participating in different roles in mock trial, such as witnesses and attorneys. And something good with mock trial that you don't have to be scared of is that you can prepare documents and your questionings and what you're going to say beforehand. So you don't have, for example, it's not like debate where you have to make a speech in 15 minutes, right? You can prepare beforehand, which makes it much less scary. Okay. That also leads me to my second piece of advice, which preparation is key. If you don't prepare, you're not going to perform as well, period. Now, another third piece of important advice is to collaborate with your team because you can't do mock trial alone. You can't create questions alone. You can't do it without practicing with your teammates. So it's a very important aspect. And lastly, ask for feedback when you're done your trial because your judges are always going to be giving you very good feedback. And also even before going to the actual trial, when you write all of your documents, when you write all of your speeches, you can ask our two amazing coaches for feedback because they'll always be willing to help you. Okay, so in conclusion, overall, I'd say that mock trial, although it seems as something that's very mysterious and very complicated, I say that when you actually start to learn about it, when you actually go to these competitions, it's actually not as complicated as you think. You'll be able to understand it, and it's actually something very fun because you're not actually debating really boring topics, but rather it's about like real cases that are happening, right? Overall, my biggest regret was not starting mock trial sooner. And that's it. Thank you for listening. Good luck on your mock trial career.
感谢建宇，非常感谢啊。问题还是放到最后。我们第3位分享的是 Angela，Angela 也是一个小盲人儿啊。Debate, DICA, mock trial, anything else? A lot 。你这个刚从那个什么安省的那个DICA比赛回来，非常辛苦啊！我们这几个孩子都特别忙啊，所以说能接受我的邀请啊，完全是看潘老师的面子。好的啊，我再把这个换回到分享。这是你的第1页哈。
您别动了，它自己就上去了。
Really？
但你就动了它，您就得往上挪呀。
什么意思？他在说我。
哦。
OK。
可以开始了。
可以了。
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Angela. I'm currently a grade 11 student at Havergal College. And today I want to talk you through a little bit about my experience doing mock trial, the competitions I've been to, the advice that I would give you, and why I think mock trial is an especially valuable sport. So starting off, I actually started doing public speaking and debate before I started mock trial. And I thought I wanted a new way to be able to express my creativity and just find a new activity that I think was generally had more of an interest and involvement in law, because I think that was also something I was interested in at the time. And so the first thing I did was actually take mock trial classes here at Linky. And these classes taught me the basics of mock trial, things like case law, the ways that competitions work, and the structures. So I actually learned all of these things before I stepped into my first competition. And then after I learned these basics, I was able to better apply them in the competitions that I went to. And I think the first one I went to was Empire online, but now most of the competitions are in person, which I think is a much more valuable learning experience. I think mock trial is especially unique and different from all the other activities, especially other speaking activities. I think especially just because of the format and the structure.
And I think for the other activities, whether that be debate or public speaking, they're much more, there's a variety of different topics, but especially for mock trial, you're able to hone in on specific aspects and your own specific skills, such as being more argumentative in the speeches that you give and learning specific aspects of law. And everything is grounded in this knowledge, which I think is especially valuable to learn. Through my opportunities and through my learning of mock trial, I was then also able to take on further leadership roles. As Jinyu mentioned, she founded the mock trial club at her school, and I did as well at my school. Because mock trial is something that I think less people do compared to activities like public speaking and debate, you're able to get more opportunities through it. And I think this will also make you seem like a more outstanding candidate if you're doing this for like things like university applications and things like that. I also think what helped me the most was actually taking all of the opportunities that I could get and attending all mock trial competitions. Since these competitions are more infrequent compared to debate competitions, which are typically every week, I tried to attend most of the competitions that came. And especially, I think you learn the most in competitions because that is when you go against the people who are better than you and you face people in which you don't see them every week in your classes, and you go into a new environment and you step into this new environment which you are uncomfortable. But I think it's also most valuable because you're able to learn from people who are better than you, learn from their skills, learn from the judges that give you very valuable feedback. And so I would say that going to competitions was something that has definitely helped me through this process. Running through just like a few achievements, I've attended some of the biggest competitions like Empire. For example, we were the top Canadian team at Empire, and then we were the 5th place team at International Mock Trial Competition. And then I was the top attorney at Dominion Cup as well as a finalist. That's just to name a few. But I don't think necessarily mock trial is about these achievements, but I think it's more about the experience and the lessons that I've learned that have been the most valuable. Do I point it to this one or there? Yeah, this one. So a few reasons why I think you should do mock trial. This is coming from my own opinion, so you can take it or leave it. But first, I think you're able to develop very important skills that you aren't able to get from just solely doing activities like public speaking. And I think firstly, you're able to think very quickly on your feet. For most of my mock trial competitions, I've been an attorney. And what this means is that when people give you objections or they oppose the things that you are saying, you don't have time to flip through your notes, but rather you have to respond quickly and on the spot. So it's really helped me improvise and think on my feet, which also translates into a lot of other things that has helped me in life, such as, for example, speaking in class discussions, or, for example, writing my essays and learning better how to structure and communicate these ideas in a more effective way. I also think that it's overall helped me with my communication skills, as well as critical thinking. And what's different about mock trial is that you're able to learn specific skills such as legal knowledge, such as, for example, the different objections like hearsay, or even the different case processes and how these case processes vary within district, within jurisdiction, within country. And I think these are all especially valuable if you're very interested in law or you want to be able to see if you want to do law in the future, because law is a very popular career subject for many people. Another reason why I also think mock trial is especially valuable is because you learn how to work as a team and you learn how to collaborate between numerous people. Mock trial is not just a one-person activity like public speaking, but rather you have to communicate with a group of 5 to 10 other individuals, and all of you have the same goal to try and succeed and try to win. And so you have to figure out to try to find the balance between everyone, while also you learn critical leadership ability within this process. I also think mock trial is very fun. You're able to be any role you want, from an attorney to a witness. There are numerous roles of attorneys as well. If you don't want to give a speech, you can also do things like examinations. For witnesses, you're able to hone in on your acting skills and your acting abilities. And if you're interested in that, I think that's also something that's very cool about mock trial. So here are some memorable moments from my competitions. Most of these are from the first in-person competition I attended, which was Mock Empire 2023, I believe, or 2024. 2023, yes. And you can see these are the opening ceremonies where you have a bunch of people from around the world coming together and, you know, cheering everyone on. This is our team. You can take funny photos. This is me and Sunny. And then what I thought was really interesting about in-person competitions was you're also able to make your own props. So if you're interested in the artistic aspect, you can see we made our own signs and props as well to help support our case that we were building. I also think this is very fun because you're able to travel around the world. For these competitions, we went to Chicago in the United States, and I know other people have been to places like Pennsylvania and other places around the US, and you're able to meet new people through things like pin trading. You're able to make these lifelong friends and these lifelong connections, which I think is valuable in and of itself. So what is my advice for you? If you are genuinely wanting to start mock trial, I would say the biggest piece of advice I have is to be passionate about what you are doing. Since mock trial does require far more preparation than I would say any of the other activities such as debate or public speaking, since most of those can be thought of and improvised on the spot, whereas mock trial, you actually need to read the very long cases, you need to plan your case law, you need to meet with your teammates to plan your speeches and examinations. You're never actually truly going to be successful if you aren't passionate and enjoy what you actually are doing, which I think is the number one, you know, sort of rule for mock trial, is that you're enjoying what you're doing. And that is what will really motivate you to, for example, read the more in-depth case law so that you can do better at, and perform better at competitions. Second, I would say not to always focus on the results, but rather focus on the process and feedback. Take all the feedback that you get from your coaches and from the professional lawyers at mock trial competitions, because that is what truly will help you improve in the future to become a better lawyer or to become a better witness. Third, I would say don't be fixated on one rule, but rather experiment with numerous different rules. Since mock trial is especially unique in that you're able to be, for example, different types of witnesses, such as expert witnesses or guest witnesses, or even for attorneys, you're able to give opening or closing statements as well as cross or direct examinations. What's really important is not to be fixated on one aspect, but try all of them and then see what best fits you. Because personally, for me, at first, I thought that I wanted to be a witness because I thought, you know, it was fun to act. But later on, as I realized, specifically when I was doing the attorney role, I realized that I liked it much better and I had more passion for it. And then that's what really motivated me to want to prepare more in advance. And then finally, I would say the most important piece of advice here is to also prepare well in advance, because you're able to better predict what the other teams are going to say, and you're able to better give a more laid out and structured case of your own. I think mock trial is overall a very valuable activity to learn and to try. And even if you aren't for sure that you want to do something like law in the future, I think it's always important to just try it first and then make your decision afterwards. Thank you.
谢谢 Angela。我们下一位分享的文琪呢，她应该是在线上。先 stop 这个。嗨，文琪，你有听见我吗？
能听见，你好啊，庞老师。
啊，
试试。
你在讲话。
哎，
我这个先关掉，这个我摁过了。你讲话，文琪，你讲话。
Hi, hello.
好，这个就是文琪啊，他会介绍他自己。好了，文琪，你可以开始了。
好, hello everyone. My name is Wency and I'm in grade 11. Oh, I can also see my face, which is really scary. But I do apologize for not being able to make it in person. So I'm here online today. Cool. So I'll first start off by introducing myself and some of my experience with mock trial. So I think I started mock trial fairly unconventionally And to this day, I still don't know why I decided to do this, but I dove headfirst into a very competitive tournament, which was Empire, before I knew anything about mock trial. And as I was competing and learning how to do it, as I was like at a tournament, I realized two things. Firstly, definitely not one of my wisest decisions, but also secondly, that mock trial is truly a very intricate legal process with a lot of, legal jargon and terminology. So I think first advice right off the bat is to have your foundations, regardless of whether or not you're engaged in public speaking or debate. I think it's best for you to take lessons first and learn the ropes before you compete. I think you'll do yourself a very big favor by doing that. And through these classes, if I'm being very transparent, mock trial is probably one of the scariest things that I've ever done. And I think it was because I'm standing there for 7 to 10 minutes in a very real courtroom, in a real courthouse, in front of actual lawyers and real federal or state judges that are there to adjudicate me. But just like the very, like, I guess, well-known picture that I linked down below, don't be the guy at the bottom and have this deter you. And in fact, it was precisely for these reasons, the authenticity, the real lawyers, the real courtroom that made mock trial not actually seem mock, that ultimately motivated me to see this as one of also the most rewarding activities that I've engaged in. You're able to have these professional connections and networking experiences with real lawyers, ask for advice, engage in friendly conversation, ask for feedback and criticism that you truly cannot get anywhere else. And regardless of whether or not you decide to pursue law or if you're just not interested in becoming a lawyer, I still think a lot of the collaboration skills, the communication, improvisation, and critical thinking are cross-transferable across a multitude of professions and in the workplace as well. Very briefly then on some of my accomplishments. We were the top Canadian team at Empire in 2024, and I was also the top witness at International Mock Trial in 2024 as well. And as you'll see, many of us have like the same experiences and the same accomplishments, and I think it speaks to because we were on the same team for a lot of years, I think it speaks to how mock trial is not just something that you do alongside teammates, but something that you do alongside a community and a friendship that you really cannot get anywhere else. Next slide, please. Cool, thank you. I'll do a little bit more of like specific insights on certain roles that you'll play. I think Candace, Daniel, and Angela did a great job at explaining what mock trial is and why you should do it. And as I'm sure many of you guys know, there's two main sides in mock trial. So you have the prosecution or Crown and the defense arguing the same case, but relatively in opposing directions. And within both of these teams, you have the two roles, the witnesses and the attorneys that previous speakers have talked about. I think with witnesses, you are literally embodying the life and the soul of mock trial and of the courtroom. You're there to be not just giving a testimony, but performing it authentically and accurately. So that may look like adopting accents or like appropriate accents or costumes, having creative quirks and some creative flexibility, but also to create this atmosphere of confidence or emotion or lack thereof, depending on who you're portraying. And I think they honestly breathe spirit into mock trial and they make it into something of a much more authentic experience that I think is really cool. Next, you have the attorneys. I think they're like the inventors of the framework, the guidelines, and the persuasive aspect that mock trial has to offer. But beyond that, you're there to reveal the humanity within your clients, to make them not just characters, but real people who have, endured pain, losses, successes, and triumphs. And I think that is a very special and unique ability that you have to utilize. But throughout all of this, a lot of these skills and these opportunities are, as I've mentioned, cross-transferable and quite cyclical. So they're not necessarily exclusive to one role. And overall, I think mock trial is a very great way for you to hone a lot of your attentiveness and responsiveness, your listening abilities, and your capabilities in terms of engaging with the opposing counsel, thinking on your feet, and being able to flip arguments that are brought and come out of the blue during the rounds. Next slide, please. I'll just mostly talk about some of my like favorite parts of mock trial. I think for Empire specifically, you're able to have these gift exchanges, interact with teams from across the globe, also across the United States, where some of the best teams and competitors come from. And you're able to, talk to them, not necessarily about mock trial, but make friends, connections, and receive really cute gifts and cow stickers, I guess, this year. Next slide. I think the other part that mock trial has to offer is the traveling. And as I'm looking at the slide, like I genuinely suck at taking photos. So I think you just have to trust me on that on the fact that you're able to see a lot of these, wonderful and like fantastic monuments, courthouses, and also great eating restaurants and eating venues and different foods that you're able to only appreciate once you're there in person. And I think mock trial offers a very fun way for you to do that as well. Next slide. And finally, I'm just going to conclude with some of my own words of advice. I think, as with any activity, don't let the prospect of winning kind of destroy the parts that make you a pleasant and overall enjoyable person to be around. I know everyone here is very competitive and you want to see results, and I was like that as well. But just make sure that the possibility of you winning doesn't erode your sportsmanship, your respect for other people, and also your passion and your enjoyment of the present of making those signs that Angela told you, or like of putting in effort of I guess crafting your case and everything, and also above all, your mentality. Being able to still see failure as not a setback, but as a reason for you to continue moving on, to continue improving and becoming the best version of who you can be. Secondly, is to also not fear experimentation. And I think people have already talked about this, but I think it's particularly important. As you're more experienced, I think a lot of mock trial competitors do find certain roles to be more suitable towards them. So they might only be attorneys or they might only be like expert witnesses, for example. But if you first start out, please seize that opportunity to experiment in different roles. Not only are their skills quite transferable, but I think between attorney and witness, they do have a mutually beneficial relationship. So, for example, as an attorney, you often know what questions you want to ask, how you want to like attack the credibility of a witness. So if you ever try out to be a witness, and maybe that's the role that you think suits you best, you at least are able to preempt what your attorney wants to get from you and find a way to dodge those questions or at least mitigate the impacts of that. So I think experimentation offers very unique benefits that you definitely do not want to miss out on. And if any of the things that we tell you about like witnesses and attorneys really interest you, I think mock trial is a very good way for you to try them out. And then finally, please don't be afraid to ask for help. I think, especially in law, a lot of legal documentations and definitions are made to be deliberately confusing or illogical. So don't suffer alone. I guess spread that suffering to other people, ask for help, and be able to learn. And then I guess piggybacking off of that as well, don't take yourself too seriously. Obviously, put in effort, put your best foot forward, but whenever you make those inevitable mistakes or you fail or you feel like you embarrassed yourself, don't let that deter you and drive you away from, becoming someone that is much better and someone that is able to improve. And just have fun with it. It's not necessarily about, winning all the time. It's just about enjoying yourself and ensuring that the passion and the interest that you have going into this sport is preserved and not erased. And with that, thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope you give mock trial a chance.
感谢文琪，把这个关掉。OK，谢谢文琪啊。文琪那个家住的比较远，但是他也是我们学校这个debate 的学生。我刚才还忘了说了，那个文琪，还有刚才分享的 Angela，还有接下来要分享的这个 Sunny，他们3个还都是学校 debate club 的 judge，对吧？大概2个星期前在密萨嘎校区刚刚分享了他们在 debate club 做 judge 的一些个经历，所以这个星期又跑到这儿来分享 Montreal。所以都是很忙的孩子，而且都是多面手。那好了，接下来呢，让我们来欢迎 Sunny。 感冒了。来，这个给你夹在身上，你先那个跟大家打声招呼。
Hello，大家好。
好，我现在切换到你的 slide 继续吗？
呀，我用啥呢？
你
换
哎，换片儿的那个，
或者我用鼠标可以。
你会放哪儿呢？
Oh, here. 怎么用啊？
左右箭头，它都说什么？
哇，不太好使。
你在视频。
啊，
对
可以了。Hi everyone. My name is Sunny Yang. I'm in grade 12 and I go to Havergal College. Sorry if I cough a little bit during my presentation. I just got like the most horrible sickness last week and I just recovered. So I'm still regaining my voice, but we'll figure it out. So, I might have done that. Okay, to start a bit with my experience then, I started taking mock trial classes at Linky in grade 9. Similar to Angela, that's also when I started to pick up on some of the basic skills of mock trial, basically what mock trial even is to begin with, how to do mock trial, how to do objections, like what a witness does, what an attorney does, like how the trials are formatted. And that's where I basically got all my basic skills before I even started competing. And then I started competing in grade 10. Originally, actually, I started mock trial not really necessarily looking to compete. I started purely out of passion and I was interested in law at that time. I thought I could go into it in the future. As of now, I don't want to go into law anymore, but I still really enjoy mock trial and I think I'm still going to continue with mock trial for quite a long time, maybe even into university, which is really exciting. But yeah, I started from an interest in law. And then in grade 10 is when I started competing for the first time. Actually, funny story is my first competition was one that I was roped into quite last minute. It was actually a competition with Angela and it was Empire of 2023 that was online. I think like last minute, they needed like someone else to like fill in for a role and I was a witness, a guest witness. So I basically had like 3 days to prepare for something that took their team like 3 months to prepare for. So I was kind of really thrown into it, but it was a whole lot of fun. I think being a witness is really enjoyable. I did transition to be an attorney for future competitions, and that's what I currently like doing right now. But I think being a witness was a really good way for me to kind of get into the world of mock trial and kind of get started with mock trial because as a witness, usually what it would be like on a team is that you would work with your attorney and help them also write your examination. So even if you're a witness, you're still kind of working with your attorney and doing a lot of like the law stuff and working on strategy. But if you may find like the law quite daunting, maybe you don't want to like learn about objections, maybe that's something you're not interested in, well, you can still do mock trial, you can be a witness. So that's my advice. And yeah, with Angela, I founded the mock trial club at Havergal College. I think mock trial, because it's not a really popular sport in Canada, unlike in the US where basically everyone does it. But in Canada, I think you could get quite a lot of opportunities with mock trial. Like maybe there isn't a mock trial club at your school. Like you can found one. So yeah, and quickly on my achievements then, I was the first best witness at Empire 2022, or maybe it was 2023. I was also the second best team, second best attorney at Dominion, and first best Canadian team at Empire Spring, as you've heard other people mention today. Okay, here are just a couple of really fun photos I think I've gathered from my mock trial experience. Here's me and Angela, and that's me and her again. This is at Empire. And then as Angela also showed in her presentation, this is when we were working on our props, also known as demonstratives. And basically you can bring them up during the trial and it's a way to let out your creative side and also make like what you're saying more compelling, and it could be a very useful tool. So I think mock trial is also not also about speaking, but a lot of it is really the planning and the strategy and the behind the scenes. and that requires a lot of brain power, and it's also really fun to do. I saw some teams also in other years, like online mock trial competitions, do like websites as demonstratives. So they literally made their own websites based on the case to demonstrate some certain things. And I thought that was really cool. So if that sounds interesting to you, maybe consider mock trial. And here's some more photos from us from different competitions. A couple of general thoughts about mock trial. Contrary to popular opinion, mock trial isn't all law heavy. There's quite a lot of public speaking that goes into it. So you really want to be like a confident public speaker, like maybe take some public speaking classes if you don't already, or a mock trial could be a way for you to hone your public speaking skills and actually get better at public speaking. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, as a lot of people are mentioning today, the witnesses and attorneys have very different roles, although you're working on the same team and can work together. But in the actual competition, you're doing quite different things. So really see what you like experiment. Like I started off as a witness, but now I enjoy being an attorney. So kind of just, yeah, see what piques your interest. Like maybe you really like acting, like putting on like an accent, really like adopting a character and learning your role really well and kind of like acting on the spot. Or maybe you like kind of asking questions or like poking at the witness or like trying to work out strategy or like giving speeches. Then you might be interested in being an attorney. Another thing I would say that I think other people have mentioned is to really get help from your coaches. If you're taking mock trial classes, ask them. Like your coach are your biggest tools. Like I was coached by Anthony and he has been such a great help. Shout out to him. Like when prepping for competitions, he was always there to kind of look over if I was writing like a direct examination to kind of look over that, like offer some advice, like talk about the general strategy of the case. And your coach can also give you some really good feedback about what you currently have. So definitely use that valuable resource. And also I'd say listen to feedback from judges at competitions. Like most of the time you're going to be judged by either a lawyer or most often it is a working judge. So an actual judge that is working as a judge. It's a great way to also make connections and with people in the profession. Like for example, in one of the competitions, I was judged at Dominion actually. I was judged by someone who was a working judge. And then later on, I actually ended up reaching out to them and being like, hey, like I wanted to like maybe run a tournament or like I was trying to found a tournament at that time for mock trial. I was like, would you be interested in judging for that? So it's a really great way to make connections. And I think you should take advantage of that if you ever go to a tournament. And finally, I'd say the barrier of entry to mock trial is really low. So unlike debate, which could seem really daunting, there's quite a lot of things you have to learn and something that might take quite like a couple years to like master. I think mock trial is something you can pick up really easily. So if you're ever like considering starting it, I'd say, yeah, just do it. Now, how do you get started with mock trial? I'd say take classes is a big thing. To be confident with your public speaking skills is another. Also, drama skills can be really helpful, even like especially if you're a witness. But even if you're a lawyer, sometimes you want to like have energy or like be a little mean to the witness or be nice to the witness, like depending on everything. So drama skills will definitely really aid you with that. And then, as the people have mentioned, go to competitions. And finally, use the internet. The internet is such a great resource. You can find so many videos about mock trial for free on there to help you get started. So use that. And finally, how do you prepare for competitions? If you already do mock trial and maybe you want to go to your first competition or go to more competitions, here are my tips for that. There's months of preparation usually that goes towards just one competition because they release the cases like months in advance. So there's quite a bit of time commitment. So I'd say use that time wisely and don't leave everything to the last second. Finally, like edit. Like edit your speeches, edit your examinations. You have all this time to prepare. So get feedback from your coaches, get feedback from your peers, your friends, your teammates, and make sure you edit everything. You should also coordinate with your team and do a lot of practices because while mock trial, it's supposed to be seen as like an impromptu thing and it's supposed to be natural and not really sound rehearsed, but truly everything is quite rehearsed. So you definitely want to coordinate with your team, maybe plan, oh, if you get asked this on cross-examination by the other team, you can respond to it with this. Or if you're a lawyer, if you're cross-examining someone on the other team and the witness is not really cooperating with you, like how can you get them to cooperate? How do you get them to say what you need them to say to win the round? So a lot of practice there. Do scrimmages with your team in advance. Make sure you know your timing and everything. And finally, know your stuff. So if you're an attorney, memorize things like objections, memorize your script really well, know your questions. If the witness like strays away, also, you have to think on the spot and know how to adapt to that. So it's kind of like, in a way, memorization and planning, but also at the same time thinking on your feet, which is a really useful skill and why I recommend mock trial. And finally, if you're a witness, like know your affidavit really well. Like you really want to just be that character so you can adapt on the spot to things. I'm going to go for this really quickly. I think people have mentioned this really well, but why do mock trial? You get useful skills for life. Again, like public speaking, like quick thinking on your feet. It's generally just, you can get a lot of transferable skills from mock trial. It's very fun, an amazing community. You will have lots of fun going to tournaments and just doing mock trial with your friends. And also it helps with applications. I recently applied to university and mock trial was one of my honors and also one of my activities for my application. So definitely helped a lot with my application. And then finally, again, you do not need to be interested in pursuing law in university or for higher education, for example, in order to do mock trial. You could just be interested maybe in law a little bit, or even if you're not interested in law, you could still be a witness and have lots of fun and get lots of accomplishments. So yeah, that's all. Thank you very much.
非常感谢Sunny。学生的分享呢，就是到这里就结束了。在教练的分享开始之前呢，那我为了感谢这几个学生，所以说我代表 Leading Tomorrow 和 Linda Key 送给你们每人一个书店的礼物卡一点小小的心意。线上的文琪，你下次到学校到密室的时候，我们会把那个礼物卡送给你。另外呢，因为那个 Candice 等一下要先走掉，所以呢，我们几个 student 我们来 take a group picture 然后 Candice 一会儿要提前走，然后我们就开始这个教练的分享。好，孩子们，来，我们 quickly take 一个 group picture，因为 Candice 马上要走。对。来，校长。你站后面，看我们这个多么伟大的教练。
我觉得你坐着高，太高了。
你坐下来好吗？他坐那儿可以吗？
You literally the same way as when I sit.
然后怎么摆？校长。
那就围着这个。
围着教练，
对，都站着好。
我这边可以再加一个人来，我这边来。
安着你到那边。那我到那边。
不听摆。
No, the screen is in my face.
那就特别。
你这姿势像一个家长带着一群子。
Thank you. Yeah.
接下来是教练的分享。Anthony and Anna Sophia, which one is going to share first? Anthony?
We have the same slide deck.
Okay, Anna Sophia.
Yeah, I'll share. Yeah.
Oh, I need a. Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you and you can hear me.
Right.
Okay, go ahead. Let me introduce a little bit. Anna Sophia is a new coach. So far, she's teaching the in-person classes in Mississauga. And she also, with Anthony together, is in charge of all the competition preparation, on-set coach, and a lot of work. When our team win the 5th team position in the December IMT. And Sophia and Anthony worked together and worked very hard, put a lot of effort together. So we got very good results. Okay, and Sophia, it's your turn.
Okay. Well, this is going to be a mixed presentation from me and Anthony, but hi, everyone. I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but I'm really pleased that I get the chance to speak with you. We're just going to introduce ourselves first. Actually, it's Anthony first chronologically, so here are your points, Anthony. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly go over what's already written here. Currently, I'm working at the Ministries of Education and of colleges and universities. So basically, I'm working in education law. It kind of deals with public schools and universities and career colleges. And I'm getting to network with some of the lawyers in our government who are fantastic people. I'm also a veteran team captain and competitor of U of T's Moot program. And I've also coached students who went on to win awards in mock trial competitions and moot competitions. There are national, international, and also provincial ones. Some of them, you just heard from 5 of them earlier, but there were more when I was at U of T Moot, and also there are more at Linky that are not here today. And I think that should be all. I'm also actively judging a lot of high school and undergraduate level mock trial and mooting competitions. So like the students have said, feedback from judges are helpful, and I think it's helpful for your coach or instructor to be judging as well, so they get the perspective from that and they get to pick the brains of their colleagues as well. So I'll give the floor back to Anna Sophia.
Okay, Anthony's being a little bit too humble. He actually just won an award for his high quality judging, so that's how good he is at giving feedback. To speak a little bit about myself, I was a bit more verbose, but it's basically the same idea. I've been doing mock trials since 2016 competitively, internationally as well as domestically, and I've been mooting since 2020. In total, I've competed in over 120 rounds of litigation-based advocacy, and in that experience, I've been a champion many times, and I've been a top advocate and a top lawyer many times. My coaching experience actually began when I was in high school, so it's really nice to hear the students talk about their experience there. I was the president of UTS's mock trial club when I was there, and I was able to lead the program to international success as well as consistent domestic success. Like Anthony, I was also a captain for the mooting program at U of T, and I'm actually currently the program director. And in that capacity, I've been able to lead that program to its most competitively successful seasons. I have the specifics there, but in addition to mooting and leading those programs to immense success, I also was the captain for U of T's A team in their American mock trial program last year. And we managed to make it for the first time of any non-American team to nationals, American Mock Trial Collegiate Nationals, which, to give you a sense of the scale, is one of the largest fields for mock trial in the world. It's about 800 teams that compete, and about 50 make it to nationals. So that was a big deal. Now, I was hearing the students speak about this, and I started getting a little bashful because I have a slide similar, but to give you a little bit of an idea of how mock trial transformed my life, because I did begin doing mock trial when I was about perhaps your age, if you're a student right now, or perhaps your child's age. I similarly started at Empire. I didn't quite know what I was throwing myself into. My friends wanted to do mock trial, and I decided to try out as well. I ended up being one of the only ones of my friends that made it, which actually ended up being a blessing because I met some of the people that changed my life entirely. A lot of the students talked about memories being such a key part of their experience so far, about the friendships that they called it lifelong, and the personal connections they were able to make. And I definitely agree with that. Over here, you can see me and some of my teammates in high school when I was at my first Empire. And over here, it's actually me and my teammates right now at U of T when we made it to nationals. Joining mock trial gave me all those presentational skills that the students had mentioned previously, as well as, of course, those leadership opportunities that they mentioned as well. And that carried on to my university life. I'm a pretty young U of T moot director compared to how people's paths usually go when they reach this position. And it's because I had the immense benefit of being able to learn this sort of organizational, presentational thinking that I would contend really only mock trial gives you. Oh, is there something wrong with the audio? Can y'all hear me? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna assume yes. Hybrid is weird. Okay. Now I concur with everything that the students said about their experiences. And I wanted to take a moment to give you folks perhaps some more context about what mock trial is exactly, because students spoke a lot about, how to do it well, what they learned personally, but it occurs to me that perhaps you folks don't know what it is. So mock trial is a simulation of real trial, of criminal and civil trials. And to understand why that's such a rich educational opportunity for you or your child, it's important for you to understand what the context of the trial really is. So before a real trial happens in real life, there is a long process leading up to discovery. Something has to happen that leads someone to get investigated, that leads to some claim or indictment being levied against a person. And then after all that happens, in real life, lawyers they engage in a process of, gathering documents, agreeing upon certain stipulations, getting exhibits and evidence. And what the educational opportunity of mock trial provides is the opportunity for students to engage in all of those different types of real life documents that lawyers actually use. Now, in mock trial, you've heard there's both the witness role and the litigation role, as in when you are taking up the role of the attorney. And the interesting thing about mock trial is that while you're doing sort of all the things that happens in a real trial, it's on a much more condensed timeline. So mock trial doesn't just teach you the literal litigation skills and legal thinking skills. It teaches you how to be precise and efficient with how you present information. Now, I'm just going to zoom past this and put it all on the screen so you can see. But the two different roles you'll notice are actually both very similar in terms of the way that they contribute to the overall, let's say, product that the students work towards, which is the actual trial itself, the competition. Witnesses are the backbone of that competition because everything that they say is what the jury can consider when they go and deliberate about who won. And attorneys, well, they're the facilitators. In a way, they're the real storytellers of the trial because they are the ones eliciting all of that different evidence and testimony. So you can see here that both roles are equally important and extremely dynamic, extremely collaborative. I'd argue that that's why in mock trial you see people talking about how deep the friendships run, how close you really become with your teammates. Additionally, I want to provide you folks with an understanding of the overall layout of trial. You don't have to worry about the specific aspects. This is just to give you a visual representation. But before the trial itself, there is the opportunity for attorneys to present what is called a pretrial oral argument, which simulates what is called a motions in limine. And additionally, they have the opportunity to present two different types of statements in the actual trial itself. That's the opening statements at the beginning of trial and the closing statements at the end of trial. Now, where witnesses come in is, again, as I said, they're the ones providing all that testimony, and you see that they testify one by one within what's called a case in chief. So the prosecution goes first, or the plaintiff, and those are the people the side with the burden of proof, and then the defense goes. Now, I just show you this so that you have an understanding of what all the different moving components in a trial, because it is distinct, mock trial, from other competitions where you stand up and you speak, or you stand up and you say something that you researched. It's actually highly technical information that you don't really get anywhere else. If you're interested in the law, or if you're interested potentially in going into the law in any way, or if you want your child to be interested, if you're a parent, then mock trial really is the only way to get this sort of information into one's brain. Now, as for the how of mock trial, at every tournament, there are 4 guaranteed rounds. So every team is assessed based on their performance throughout the weekend's preliminary rounds. For many tournaments, those preliminary rounds are the only rounds that occur, and then you're ranked based on the outcome of those. In each tournament, there are 2 rounds per side. So the defense side goes twice, and the plaintiff or the prosecution side goes twice as well. And in terms of the competitive spots, there are about 4 to 6 students per side, because on each side you call 2 to 3 witnesses, and also on each side you have 2 to 3 attorneys, depending on the tournament. Now, the students spoke a lot about this, so I concur. I won't take too long with this, so I'll just show them all at once. But I want to emphasize, mock trial is more than just a public speaking activity. It blends a lot of the best things that I think other public speaking activities give you. For example, the ability to synthesize information, or the ability to present confidently, or the ability to see both sides of a certain argument. But it makes sure that when you do those things, when you present your arguments, you actually know your stuff. And you actually know something that materially changes your life, because as you folks know, of course, the law shapes our society. It's everything that we interact with. It's the food that you buy. It's the drinks that you drink. It's the trains that you ride on your way to work. The law is everything around us. And activities like mock trial and mooting, they expose the ways in which the law shape our world materially. And that's a very, very unique educational experience. It teaches you philosophy, it teaches you politics, in addition to everything else that any other sort of public speaking activity could give you. Now, I wanted to show you folks as well, beyond just explaining mock trial in the abstract, what exactly it is that students delve into when they are preparing for that product I mentioned, the actual trial itself, that presentational aspect. So I'm going to show you a few pages from some case packages. This first page is an indictment. You can see it on the left-hand side. And on the other side is a complaint. Now, these documents form the basis for whatever it is that the prosecution or the plaintiff has to prove on a side. And you'll notice that it's written in legal language. It's not dumbed down. It's not patronizing. And that's the thing about mock trial. You learn the real skills that lawyers have to learn when they start articling, or that law students have to learn when they enter class for the first time. It's not watered down in any meaningful way. Over here, you have the stipulations. This refers to some agreements that one has going into a trial. So for example, over here, you see an order on bifurcation that dictates the sorts of arguments one would make. But the stipulations aren't just a limitation on the students who engage in mock trial. They are tools that the students can use in the course of doing things like making objections, because mock trial is actually very, very concerned not just with presentation or asking questions, but on the attorney side, really knowing the real law, the real procedures that go behind doing things like presenting evidence, which cuts to the core of legal philosophy, because it asks what type of evidence is credible, what can be put before a witness credibly, what is seen as true enough that it can be used to decide whether or not someone is guilty of a crime. And on the right-hand side, we have jury instructions, which give students insight into how it is that everyday people in a jury trial decide the fate of one defendant. On this slide, I have the rules of evidence as well as the rules of procedure. You heard the word objection, not just from me, but from some of the students earlier. And when we talk about objections, we refer to the sort of meta argument that happens in the middle of trial, where the students are trying to make sure that what happens in the trial is fair. So that goes to the core question, what does a fair trial look like? What does it mean for someone to have a huge life-altering decision be made for them in a way that society can feel comfortable with. And that's what the rules of evidence help students think about. It's a tool for them to think about how to defend their client or how to make sure that they can, present credible evidence against a defendant if they're on the prosecution side, for example. Similarly, the procedural rules strike at a question about what is the proper way to interact with the witnesses, with the jury, with the judge. Over here, we have a notice of intent form. I wanted to show this to you folks because in addition to doing objections and asking questions as an attorney, as well as presenting statements, you interact quite a bit with the judge. And in fact, students who presented just now, a lot of them mentioned that they were able to speak with judges outside of the context of doing the competition itself. And one of the reasons why that type of dynamic sticks, that type of professional connection you can gain, is because in mock trial, you're doing a lot at both presenting to a jury, but also really interacting with the judge as a judge. So for example, a notice of intent form is something that one would give to a judge outside of the what we call purview of the jury. So what that means is they're interacting with the judge like a lawyer really would. And over here, we have case law. Case law is similarly a tool that students would use in order to bolster their objections, in order to understand what is fair to present in front of a jury, and to make arguments based on that in the middle of trial. Now, the next two slides have to do with really what I think the bulk of the preparation process for students is, which is looking at the evidence that the provided case package gives you through the lens of witnesses. Because as I said, witnesses are the backbone of mock trial. Their testimony is the only thing that a jury can consider. An attorney's questions aren't evidence. It's what witnesses actually say. And an attorney's role, like I mentioned, is to be the storytellers, as in to elicit the story, to be those facilitators. So over here, we have an affidavit on the left-hand side and a deposition on the right-hand side. Affidavits are the most common way in which we interact with a witness's set of facts. But a deposition is interesting in that, as opposed to being a written statement, as you can see here, it's actually a transcript of an interview. And the difference in terms of competition is that in a deposition statement, you don't have to stick by exactly what is said. You can actually invent, is what it's called. And what that means is where you're not contradicting what's in the deposition, you as a student are able to have the creative liberty to add strategic evidence that doesn't explicitly exist there that helps your side story. So that's really crucial because it shows that mock trial isn't just, boring legal analysis if that's not your thing. It's also a lot of creativity, a lot of narrativizing. One of my teammates, her background before she joined mock trial was short story fiction writing. And it really scratches the same itch for her because it's such a creative activity. Over here, we have two different types of witness statements. It's an expert report and an investigative report, an investigator's report. And I want to show you this because it relates really deeply to the rules of evidence, and which then demonstrates how deeply students need to know the idea of, who is qualified to present certain types of testimony before the jury, because these types of reports give foundation, they give information that allow these witnesses to give different types of testimony than the other witnesses you just saw, those deposition witnesses and those affidavit witnesses. And through the process of mock trial, students really learn what exactly it is that makes someone's opinion more or less credible. Now, we have the linked key mock trial program section at this juncture, and so this is going to be presented by Anthony.
Sophia, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
对，把这个关。
Okay, so I'm just going to skip over what she already covered.
你要我在这儿，
不用，我也可以。好像
是能花好久吗？
Okay. I will be doing this. I'll try to do this bilingually. So I'm going to introduce the course structure, our competition rules, how we select the teams, and we're also going to talk very briefly about what we have won over the past couple seasons. 我尝试等一下把重要的信息会用中文、英文讲2遍，然后尽量的话不要太重复，但是希望大家可以把重要的信息都可以听到。Okay. So this slide kind of deals with the program structure. The who, what, and how. So basically what Anna Sophia just covered. The very, very fundamental skills that I think Angela and Sunny also talked about earlier, they will be in level 1, and they will be the first couple of intensive sessions over level 1 or over the summer. We have summer courses as well. You learn this over the summer as well. So sign up early. But this is kind of like, this is what sets level 1 apart from the later levels. Level 1 is really where you get the basics. You get a very good foundation of what mock trial is. And as some of the students said, it feels very easy to pick up with them. That's because of, I think, partially the way we teach it. We kind of like do it not so theoretical. We let them kind of have the trial and error thing going on. We let them do a little bit of a tiny bit of a trial every class. And then they go home, they come back next week. We try to cover the same thing and teach something new. So in the end, it feels like it's really easy to pick up, but if you ask a lot of people, I think they will tell you that it might not be that easy. So I think that's why our level 1 is designed to really focus on the foundational skills. And then in both levels 1 and 2, we're going to cover concepts in American and Canadian legal systems. So basic concepts like objections, civil law, criminal law, how they differ. And not just how they differ within US and within Canada, but also we compare how it differs across the US and Canada. And I think a lot of the competitions are in America. A good number of competitions are based on US rules, but we still do cover Canadian content. So that is because we have national and provincial competitions, but also because we want our kids to be proud Canadians. So that's good, always good. Okay. And then in level 3, we kind of move past all the instructional portions. And basically, most of what we do is in-class practice rounds. So you heard people speak about scrimmages. So a scrimmage is a practice round. So that's basically what most of what we do. And then in level 3, we also, most of the time will be spent on preparing for competitions. So more on competitions later, but level 3 is the competition level. 简单来讲的话，1级和2级是授课的内容比较多。1级的话，基本上全部都是用授课和课堂练习的形式呈现。我们会先给他们介绍一些概念，然后他们在课堂上会自己用一些很简短的时间，把刚刚 Anna Sophia 介绍的整个审判的一个小的节点拿出来进行训练，然后我们会给他们 feedback。他们回家之后，下一周进来会有更多的练习，然后会和他们温故知新。然后2级和1级也都会介绍加拿大和美国的一些基本的法律的框架和概念，因为就像 Anna Sophia 前面说的，比赛的时候他给你的材料并不会因为你是高中生就特别去变简单，你要阅读的材料其实和本科的参加这个比赛的学生，甚至是和法学院参加 mock trial 的学生，阅读的材料的难度其实都是相当的，可能在长度上有差别，但是在对你需要的基础的法律概念和理解上都还是需要有，所以我们1级和2级会有花时间在这个基本的教学上，然后2级和3级也会有，尤其是3级 绝大多数的时间都用在练习。前面学生会提到 scrimmage 这个词 ，scrimmage 这个词就是练习赛的意思。这个 scrimmage 特别指的就是一个完整的练习赛，从一整个审判几个小时，从头到尾连贯的去做一个类似于彩排的一个，但是它也并不是彩排，因为你会和别的有的时候甚至会和别的学校的学生一起比，然后大家可以互相学习，所以3级的学生绝大多数时间都会花在自己内部的练习赛，以及我们去准备参加其他的竞赛上。然后之后我们会讲到其他的竞赛，我们选学生的一些要求和 process，但是我们等一下再讲那个。现在主要就是讲这3个级别的内容。然后我们先有2个校区，然后这2个校区呢，分别由我和 Anna Sophia 在教。这2个校区其实在内容上呢不会完全的重复，因为时间啊，包括大家每个班级，我们会根据大家的实际的学习情况，可能有些内容我们要多花点时间，有些内容可能少花点时间。虽然不是完全一模一样，但是在进度上我们还是同步的。也就是说，你如果是从 Level 1毕业之后，你进入到 Level 2，你换了另外一个校区，并不会说你比别人少知道或者多知道很多东西，然后你们没有办法组队这样。然后另外一点就是，目前我们3级全部都是主要是我在进行教学，就不管你1级、2级是跟哪一个教练学到3级，我们还是回到同一个班级里面来。所以说在这方面的话，其实没有特别大的，主要还是希望大家在时间和地点上方便，没有说在内容上有很多的差别。So as you can see here, we have 2 coaches. So me and Anna Sophia, we're both teaching levels 1 and 2. On a week-to-week basis, there might be slight variations because mine are on Thursdays mostly. So there might be some issues with long weekends where people doing on Sunday might have a week canceled or delayed, and we don't do that for Thursday. There might also be some slight difference in progress given how the cohort, the class, is absorbing the content. But at the end of the day, once you graduate from one of the levels, you are going to be just as good, whichever campus you went to. So it's mostly like we're trying to cover the different times and locations for everyone. It's not you are not going to be taught drastically different content based on which campus you go to. And finally, I think as a testament to that compatibility, we do have level 3 here, which is taught primarily by me in one singular class. So everyone from different coaches, they progress to the same classroom in the end, and people blend very well. They are on the same progress, and I think that kind of proves that our levels are designed and taught in a very scientific manner. Okay. And I just want to stress that level 3 is very much competition driven. So I know a lot of people have experience in debate and Model UN, but when you try out level 3, even if you have a lot of experience, level 3 might not really be the best fit because, as we said, levels 1 and 2 has a lot of instructional content about what sets mock trial apart, and level 3 is mostly just practicing. So I think that's kind of important information to have as well. Okay, so 我们现在讲一下这个比赛准备的过程。首先，就像前面 Anna Sophia 说的，我们会拿到一整本的 casebook， 有的时候可能会有几百页。我们在场的学生都知道有几百页的 case 要读，而且字都很小，不是那种 Indigo 你买回来几百页，每一页上只有半页文字，基本上全是文字，而且是 letter 的大小，所以内容还是很多。但是我们每一次学生都能够不仅要读一遍，他们还要反复读，因为之前 Candice 有讲，如果你忘记内容的话，会让你的 team look bad， 所以学生会反复的读，所以他们真的对于他们的阅读能力，我觉得也有提升。然后在分析完这个 casebook 之后呢，我们就会集训。集训的主要内容就是给大家做一些 legal research， 像前面 Anna Sophia 说的。他们用的这些法律都是从真实世界当中节选的法律内容，所以这些法律如何的去适用到我们的这个 case 当中，要学生自己回去做 research。当然，我和 Anna Sophia 会帮助他们，但是也是在锻炼他们的 research 的能力。然后我们再会一起决定是 到底怎么样去讲这个叙事，怎么样把我们这个 site 的故事讲得更好，能让陪审团相信。在接下去呢，就是到了前面 Sunny 有讲的部分，就是学生回去要自己开始写自己的问题，写自己的演讲，然后这些稿件呢都会发给教练，然后教练会进行编辑，会给他们建议，他们还会去再返工，然后再就是这样一轮一轮这样的来回，然后经过这么多，就是其实之前完全就是听上去好像很枯燥的部分之后，才真正来到练习赛，才真正来到他们可以表演的机会。所以说，其实整个活动不管是对于证人和律师来说，前面都是经过大量的阅读和 research 和理解的，每一个角色都是很重要，然后他们才到练习赛。练习赛之后呢，他们会拿到练习赛的 feedback，然后他们会去改进，最后才会到比赛。那当然，我这边有写，它有一个 ongoing 的部分，也就是像之前潘老师介绍 Candice 的时候说了，我们的学生在看到别人的队伍有一些很精彩的点的时候，他们可以马上拿回来，变成我们自己下一场可以继续研究的点。这也是为什么我觉得，尤其是 in person 的比赛，经过一个周末之后，大家都突然关系变得很好，因为你离开法庭之后，绝大多数时间都花在一起去研究这个 case。所以说这个也是蛮重要的一点。So basically the timeline here is kind of self-explanatory. We start with reading the case, and then I'll kind of help, Anna Sophia and I will help the students conduct the necessary legal research. The students will craft their own arguments, and I think part of the method that we have here, part of the philosophy is it's their team, and the teams have to design their own cases. They will get guidance from Anna Sophia and I, but they will need to make the final calls on, do we really want to drop this witness versus that one? It kind of helps with team cohesion. It also helps with their critical thinking skills. But once that decision is made, every argument they draft will be sent to me or Anna Sophia, and we will get feedback. They will go back to edit, and then they'll send it back to us again, and we'll give more feedback. And the process goes on. So after all that hard work, that's kind of reading and writing based, then you get to the fun part, so to speak. I think every part is fun, but you get to the fun part. That's the scrimmages, again, the practice rounds. So you go against people in full-length trials, and then you get feedback from coaches, not just me and Anna Sophia. If the other team has adult coaches who are lawyers or law students, they will also be generous with their comments. That's the point of scrimmages. So after that, you go to the competition and then you compete. And then while you're competing, you keep learning from the other teams. You get to see what they're doing well. And sometimes you incorporate that into your own presentation. That's why I wrote ongoing strategization here. And in terms of, okay, so the bullet points kind of overlaps with what coaches do later. So I'm gonna save that for later. 这个 bullet point 上面写的内容呢，其实我们之后会单独有一张 slide 讲我们在 Linky 这个 package 里面教练会有哪些付出的项目，所以我就不再太重复。大家如果前面有看有简单的扫一下就 OK 了。Okay. So now I'm going to talk about what we did in the past couple seasons since I came in and took over the program and since Anna Sophia joined us. And I'm also going to talk about our plan moving forward in the 2025 season. Okay, so in chronological order, this past season, 2024 season, we went to Empire Philadelphia. We had 2 individual awards among the teams coming from, I believe, all parts of Asia and all across the United States, and of course, Canada. And so we got 2 individual awards. We had 2 honorable mentions for witnesses. And then International Mock Trial is this event that's happening online, but it's focusing on American, and I think there are teams from Korea and all across Greater China region. So for that, in December, our team got placed 5th out of 40 teams across the United States, Canada, Korea, and Greater China. I'm repeating myself. Okay, so for individual awards, Wenty, who you just heard from, got Outstanding Attorney first place. And Janu, do you want to come up again so people can see you? She got Outstanding Witness camera. She got Outstanding Witness, 8th place. So 40 teams, each team has like, let's say 5 something people. So that's 8th place out of 200. So congrats again. And Anna Sophia said it earlier. I didn't put it here because technically it's like a team. It's for people on our program. But judges who judge at the competition also get evaluated by contestants on the quality of feedback that's given. And I had the honor of being one of the outstanding judges. Thank you. Okay, so 我们在去年费城线下的 Empire 有2个个人奖，我们一个是记得我们队伍里面有2个个人奖，都是证人的个人奖。然后这个 Honorable Mention 的话，就是他们的证人是有排名，然后最靠前的会是他们有一个很复杂的打分系统，然后这个系统呢，一般我们上课会跟学生单独拿时间来讲，所以我今天就不去讲这个系统。但是简单来讲，就是这个系统里面打分，如果你是平手的话，然后你们又是最后一名，那么就是你们就是 honorable mention。所以我们的学生也是很厉害，拿到了这个奖项，因为在 Empire 也好 ，IMT 也好，都是只有前5%甚至更少的人会拿到这些奖项。然后 IMT 是一个线上的 tournament， 它有美国的学生，然后有韩国的学生，然后包括这个大中华地区很多学校的学生都有参加。然后我们这次的话是在40个队伍里面拿到了第5名。然后在个人奖项方面呢，刚刚前面文琪跟大家分享过，那么他是我们在这个比赛当中拿到的是整个锦标赛当中第1名的律师。然后刚刚建宇就不用再上来了，但是他是第8名。然后一共的话，大家想一下，40个队伍，每个队有大概4、5个学生，所以说第8名也是非常厉害。然后Anna Sophia 之前也有讲到，就是这个比赛里面，学生也会根据他们遇到的每一个裁判去给裁判给他们的反馈评分。然后这次 Anna Sophia 没有参加，所以他没有拿奖。但是因为我有去裁判，所以我有拿到这个奖项。所以这个我觉得也从侧面反映我们给学生提供的这个 feedback 的质量是得到其他学校的学生认可，因为自己学校的学生是不能给自己的教练打分的。然后再往前一个赛季的话，2023年我们在 Dominion Winter Challenge， 这个是一个加拿大全国性的比赛，我们是在全加拿大20多个队伍当中，我们的队伍是第2名。然后个人奖就比较多，我们有2位最佳的律师，应该是 Angela 和 Sunny， 刚刚也和大家分享。然后证人的话，应该其中有1位是 Candace， 具体第1名、第2名和第4名哪一位是 Candace 我记不太清，但是应该有1位是刚刚和大家分享的 Candace。然后有些学生的话，他们已经毕业了，所以就不跟我们继续比赛。但是我们队伍其实还是非常有竞争力。然后像之前我们学生有分享，我们有一些非正式的一些排名，比如说我们是加拿大的队伍当中排第1，或者非美国的队伍里面排在最前面。但是这个因为不是大赛官方的，所以我就没有列在这边。但是刚刚大家应该都有听到。Okay, so for 2023. The main thing is the Dominion Winter Challenge, which is the national tournament. We were the national runner-up among more than 20 teams from coast to coast to coast. And then for individual awards, Angela and Sunny, who just shared their experience, were 1st and 2nd place nationally. And Candace is one of the Outstanding Witnesses awards here. I'm really sorry, I just don't remember which place she got. But in any case, it's very incredible. We sent 8 students, 5 of them got awards, and the team got an award. And there are informal stuff like we're ranking better than other international teams or Canadian teams at certain tournaments. That was not official, so I didn't list them here, but from the students' presentations before, you probably got that information. Okay, so kind of quickly going over the next season. 我们接下去一个学期的比赛计划呢，主要还是其实一些最大的大赛还是 Empire， 每年最大的大赛都还是 Empire。今年的5月份呢是 Empire 的一个线上春季赛，然后这个春季赛呢如果队伍表现特别好的话，他们会有一个6月的季后赛，然后这个是我们今年有一个2月份，其实有一个2月份的比赛，但我们已经在备赛当中，所以我就没有列出来。然后这个 Linky Cup 呢，具体的时间我们还要再等一下会告诉大家，但是前面也有学生提到他们有参加筹备这个比赛，然后这个 OMTA 它也是5月份，它是一个线下的比赛，然后它是一个省级的，然后这个比赛呢，它的一个好处是它不区分大学低年级的学生和高中生，所以说你去了之后，你能够体验到的对手和学习的经验其实我觉得都还是可以和安省的大学生一起比拼。然后最后有2个，一个是今年我们秋天的 Empire。每年 Empire 其实会有3个时间，然后具体哪一个的话，其实我们要申请到 Empire 比赛的资格之后，由组委会告诉我们，所以我们现在也没有办法确切的知道，我们只知道是在秋天的时候会有这个比赛，然后会是 in person 去美国进行这个比赛。前面大家有看到很多照片，大家吃饭拍照片，然后有很多牌子，很开心，就是去这个 Empire。最后 IMT 就是我们刚刚12月份得奖的那一个呢，今年2月份的这个赛季过去之后，今年的9月份和12月份会有一个新的赛季，那么这个赛季也是会是一个 online 的形式。So I'm not gonna re-say all of this because I just explained what's on the table. So I think we can just read in English. Okay. Okay. 接下来简单讲一下和 Linky 比赛的一些我们组队的方式。这个的话最基本的一个要求就是你现在需要是我们 Linky Mock Trial 的学生，因为像之前大家都有听到，有很多基本的知识你还是虽然可能很多人有一些基础，但是最基本的一些方式和技巧都还是需要在课堂上先学习到，然后之后再通过锻炼能够提拔到比赛的程度。但是虽然如此呢，如果你是在1级的学生，你还在学习的这个过程当中，我们也有很多，包括我们今年的比赛，去年的这个赛季的比赛当中，也有很多有1级的学生表现确实非常的突出，然后他们也有很多 debate 等等的经历。那教练其实也会为他们去单独说你也可以参加比赛。但一般来讲，我们还是2级和3级的学生会为主，然后1级的学生是以教练邀请他为主。然后对于大部分比赛来说呢，基本上只要满足了这个条件就可以。比如说我们今年的 IMT 这个比赛，就基本上它是比较宽松，大家组队都能报名参加，都能有位置的。所以说我们也希望大家更多的能有机会参加比赛，所以我们基本上只要满足这个基本条件都可以。但像 Empire 这种，我们每年去申请 Empire 也很节约，给我们不是太多的位置。所以说我们也没有办法，我们也必须要进行内部的选拔。那像这样选拔的话呢，它就会有一个比较正式的 tryout 的一个程序。那所有的学生都可以报名参加，然后他们会最后有一个 tryout， 可能是一个考试的形式，或者是一个现场的练习赛，或者可能是2者兼有。大家有可能参加过 model event 和 debate， 可能之前有试过我们的 tryout。然后但是呢，就像 Model UN 一样，如果你是在我们的模拟法庭当中得过奖，或者你像我们的 Candace 从7年级还是8年级就开始一直留在我们的 program 里面的话，那我们肯定也是会有相应的考虑，然后增加你能够去大赛的机会。但是主要还是因为 Empire， 而且是线下的大赛嘛，其实有很多方面的限制，我们还是必须要有一个选择的过程。So the main eligibility rule is you have to be enrolled in our program, and more specifically, it should be levels 2 and 3, because that's when you're moving past the learning the basics part and you're trying to master your skills. And one of the best ways is to practice through competitions. But if you are in level 1, and we have had these cases, where many of these cases where someone has great debate experience, has great public speaking experience, and they're also quick learners. They picked up all the mock trial stuff super fast. Then the coaches will kind of invite you to be able to compete at competitions. Or if you feel like you really want to and you haven't gotten an invitation, you can ask, and we will assess you based on whether you're ready, and we'll let you know. For competition-specific rules, most competitions are very generous with how they allow teams to compete. For those, we're equally generous. As long as you meet the general eligibility rule, we want more people to be able to compete and participate and gain experience and win awards. But for competitions where Linky is granted only limited spots, especially Empire in person, there will have to be a tryout process because there's logistical concerns, and Empire doesn't let us send everyone we want. So students from all levels will be graded based on their performance. So this is a very fair process. In the grading process, it is kind of like blinded, and I do standardization on Excel. So like if a level 1 student is performing really, really well and the level 3 students are not having their greatest day, the scores will reflect that. The scores are fair. But then we also have additional points that are awarded for past achievements and how long you've been with us. So don't worry. Like it's like Model UN. So you do get recognized for past great experience, and you do get recognized for being a student with us for a long time and for being a valuable member to our team and your continued contribution to our team. And for specific selection processes, it will have to be based on an announcement on a case-by-case basis because we don't know how many teams we can accommodate. So we really can't just go back to the form and tell you which rule will apply to which competition right now. It really depends on how many spots we can secure, and then we're able to decide the rules and then give more insight on it. And finally, the coaching package. It's basically, there are 3 main components. The first is classroom instruction, which is similar to kind of the in-class practicum that we're doing. So we help annotate the case with the students. We give lectures on the legal concepts. We talk about the case, and we strategize together in workshops. And workshops, because the reason why we do workshops instead of us giving the theory to the students is, again, we want them to think for themselves. And sometimes we have 3 teams and they have 3 different strategies. And I think that's a very beautiful thing because they're thinking for themselves and they're developing their skills, and it's also original. But the workshops, just like any other work session that happens in class, are always guided and supervised. So we're trying to make sure that everyone is, as the kids say, locked in. They're doing their work. They're not slacking off. And we do that by stopping by, and we do make them write on a Google Doc so we can see how much was written. And sometimes, so some people don't come up and pass off their work from the weekend as what they're supposed to do. Anyways, and then we have the outside of the classroom portion. So Sunny mentioned earlier that if you send us a message on Discord or if you send us a document, we will review it, sometimes at late hours, sometimes the earliest opportunity we get to. But we do those Q&As, and we do edit and advise students on their drafts. And also we do one-on-one appointments with students when they have specific inquiries. I think Yuanyu and Candace are no stranger to that. I've done a couple with them, and even like when they're attorney and witness, they come to me and do their mini scrimmage together. And I try to accommodate that as well. And finally, scrimmage outreach and planning. So this is really something that coaches, like I mentioned, scrimmages can happen with other schools, and you can get feedback from their coaches as well. But those things really happen with all the support from our fantastic admin staff here and also from our coaches, because we do need to work to arrange that. And we recently got 2 with Shanghai American School for the upcoming IMT. And we did a full day of scrimmage with US teams at Empire Philadelphia. So it does take planning, and it's included in what the coaches do. And it's not something that you really see in the classroom. And finally, there's on-site coaching. Coaches are there with you when you're competing. So that's just like ongoing feedback and providing mental support when needed. 所以我们这个整个教练的 package 除了课堂上的时间之外，其实课后也有很多的时间会是 和比如说学生如果有1对1的需求，和他们Zoom 或者我们在 Discord 上回答他们的问题，或者他们把他们写好的这个 speech 发给我们，我们跟他们进行修改，这些其实都会比较零散的时间，但我们也尽量是最快的速度去回复我们的队员。最后就是练习赛，如果是要找别的学校的话，我们要找地点啊、时间，其实这些也都是需要教练和我们的后勤的人员给大家进行给大家在幕后工作。最后就是我们这个 package 也包括就是现场 coaching， 就学生在现场，我们也会在现场。然后我们就交给潘老师继续。
下一页
OK。
好，我还有最后2张 slides， 我们的分享就结束哈。刚才2个教练讲了很多，那多说2句，在我讲之前，我们还要祝贺我们这个 Anthony 教练啊，他那个他大学毕业了，本科毕业了，目前在工作，但是呢，他同时在申请法学院啊，他今年是横扫了加拿大所有的法学院的 offer 啊，就即将在横扫所有申请的加拿大所有的头部法学院的 offer， 他全部拿到，全都拿到啊！然后会在今年的9月份，选择其中的一间法学院来学习，也就是说，我们的Anthony Fan 大律师会在几年以后啊，走上他的职业生涯啊，非常的
帮助多大游说他留在多伦多。
对，我们游说他留在多伦多，所以就可以继续做我们 in person 的这个教练了。然后简单的说一下，我们每一次这个模拟法庭的比赛呢，都会在这个模拟法庭的关注群呐，还有各个家长群里面发比赛通知，学校的 portal 上也有这个比赛的通知啊。那么这个 package 它里面包含很多的内容了啊。那不管是线上线下的，有的有注册费，有的没有啊。然后呢，像我们 in person 的比赛呢，一般在现场练习的话，还要租场地费。然后大赛，你像安佩尔这样的大赛呢，它是统一的 charge 一部分的食物啊。然后我们如果需要 travel 的话，还有机票啊、宾馆啊，还有地面的交通啊，往返机场和酒店的交通啊。另外就是整个这一个比赛作为一个大的 package， 我们已经把 in class training 这一部分含进去了啊，也就是说你这一块你是不需要重复付费的，而且我们从今年开始我们进行了改革，那么在校的学生在被选入一个战队之后，在备赛期间，我们就等于是以赛代练，以赛代课，你课堂上的内容完全转化成备赛，这样的话可以节省孩子们一部分时间，也会节约一部分的费用啊。也就是说，如果2个月之后有一个比赛，那么这2个月期间的每个月4次课，这8次课的内容全是备赛内容啊。这样呢，我们的费用会省一部分，时间上也会省一部分。但是教练和学生也讲了，光靠课堂上是不够的。可能还要再补充一些个课时，这个就是所谓的 additional in-class training 啊，要补充一些个课时啊。另外，教练还要花大量的时间去改稿子，去1对1的进行辅导啊。刚才教练已经说过了，我不重复啊。现场还要进行辅导。再就是我们组织一个比赛呀，它比较复杂。那么作为Linda Key Montreal 这个备赛的总负责人吧，就是从头到尾。所有的工作都是事无巨细，所以我们还要对学生进行管理，现场呢还有监护，另外还要做好所有的后勤啊，所有的这些都包含在我们每一个比赛的费用的那个 package 里面啊。再就是最后一个 slides 啊，大家耐心2分钟讲完啊，就是 Montreal 这个东西到底能给大家带来什么？我们的学生、我们的老师讲了很多，那我大概就总结了这个几条。就是我们在申请大学的时候，它能够带来些哪些呢？首先，它是属于一个非常有意义的课外活动啊，你能通过这个活动得到很多的荣誉很多的收获，很多的获奖。因为我们在申请大学的时候，招生官是要看结果说话的啊。当然了，你做事情不是为了结果去，你要珍惜这个过程。但是大家也看到了，我们刚学习2年的学生就已经在各个大赛当中拿到很多奖了啊。所以这个Linda Key 的 Montreal 团队是有这样的能力帮助大家去拿到这些个 honor 的 啊。再就是通过这个活动可以锻炼大家的 leadership 啊，也可以锻炼大家的合作精神，因为它是 work as a team，孩子们都说了，这不是一个人单打独斗，这是一个 team 的合作啊。然后你可以建立友谊，建立你的人脉，还有你的 critical thinking 啊，creative thinking writing 都可以在整个备赛的过程当中得到很好的锻炼啊。再就是你在申请大学的时候，你能够说出来很多故事啊，因为你参加比赛，你遇到很多事儿，你遇到很多人，你会遇到挫折，你是怎么克服的？你有哪些成长和感悟以及收获？所以它都可以给你的大学申请的文书啊带来故事啊。我们今天邀请的这5个嘉宾里面，年龄最大的是那个 Sunny 12年级啊。Sunny 刚才也提了，他在大学的申请当中 Montreal 的活动获奖是他申请材料里边很重要的一部分。当然了，他还有很多其他的东西啊。那么就再爆料一下吧。Sunny 已经早申被布朗大学录取啊，这是我们的一个Montreal 团队。一个新星又一个藤娃产生了啊！布朗大学早录成功啊。那所以我们这个爬藤的这个群体里面，这个孩子啊，其实都是多面手啊。很多家长都抱怨我的孩子没有时间啊，我做了这个做不了那个呀。但是你看这些孩子，每一个孩子都是多面手啊。那说到这儿，再来一个植入广告，我们3月份的研学团整装待发啊。我们今天这几个嘉宾，好几个都曾经是研学团的团员啊。我们今年的早申的这个研学团的团员拿了4个 offer， 那桑内是其中的一个，是布朗。我们还有一个耶鲁，还有一个康奈尔，还有一个达特茅斯啊。希望3月末4月初所有的藤校放榜之后，我们研学团能拿到更好的结果，到时候我们还可以大家去分享啊。那春假团整装待发啊，基本上很多事情都已经就绪了啊。如果你想乘上这班车的话，赶紧跟我们的客服钟老师联系啊。还有最后还有一点希望，还有几个位置。那接下来就是 Q&A 之前呢，我们校长呢还有一个简短的总结。那屏幕上的这2个二维码呢，第一个是我们有一个 Montreal 关注群啊，你如果关注我们的课程、我们的比赛啊、我们的各种活动，那你可以扫这个码入群。这个群扫码应该是好使的。右面的这个是我个人的微信啊，你也可以加我的私信，然后问我很多关于 Montreal 的问题，我很乐意帮助大家解答。好了，现在把麦交给校长。
行，我就1分钟啊，就1分钟，因为其实我一开始没想说来着，但是我听着大家这个聊着，我就想说2句，但我就1分钟吧，因为我就想说一个事儿。今天我不知道是谁说的，是 Anthony 说的，是 Anna Sophia 说的，就是他们在说到安排这个活动的时候呢，他们说到在加拿大其实这个活动参与的人并不多，但是美国非常的多。美国刚才好像是你们2个谁讲了一个，几乎每一个美国的中学生或者高中生都有过 mock trial 的这种经验。当然每个人多多少少不一样，有的人做1年，有人做5年等等哈，但是每一个人都有。那为什么？或者说我们加拿大的学生在我们加拿大不是这么主流的项目当中，要不要去做这个事情？首先我们先说为什么，其实它一定是有一个道理在里面。就第一，我想跟大家讲，你想一下 mock trial 是什么？ mock trial 实际上它是一个构建在 public speaking 和 debate 的基础上的一个更加专业化的一个知识结构。那这个专业化的知识结构就是法律嘛，就是法律类的知识结构。那法律类的知识结构，因为我不是学法律专业的，这个 Anthony 和 Sophia 他们应该讲得很清楚，就是法律类的知识结构能够带给你们什么？那你不一定将来要做 lawyer， 不一定将来你要从事这个领域，但是它给你很多这种通用的这种能力，通用的这种知识。我们的这些学生，包括今天我们看到的，刚才庞老师说Sunny已经被藤校录取了，然后我们还有像文琪啊，在 IMT 拿到第1名，然后像建宇拿到这个 outstanding witness。我现在给你们预测一下，我们这些孩子们， 不管你们现在是11年级、10年级，当然12年级他们已经上岸了，他们将来在大学申请当中，在将来的这种工作当中，你们一定可以走得很远。有你们今天的这种基础，有你们今天的这份努力，你们一定将来在大学申请当中，你们一定在将来你们的工作当中、你们的生活当中能走得很远，能走得很成功。所以我今天先做个预测啊，这个一定是正确的，一定是准确的。这是我想说的第一。第二，我们从策略的角度上来讲，首先我们先说美国是一个主体的运动啊，就是我们经常跟大家讲，你做事情一定要去做主流的事情，你去做一个大家不知道的事情，就是我们小时候玩的那个叫什么，那个叫什么，什么跳皮筋儿啊，你说我那个跳特好，或者说我们以前小时候男孩子玩那个叫什么抖那个空竹啊，你那个玩的不知道，它不是主流运动。你跟招生官讲，他都不知道这是什么东西，你还得给他解释半天，说那个跳皮筋怎么跳啊？但是 mock trial 是 mock trial 是一个主流运动，而且像刚才咱们讲，在美国是很主流的。从反过一个角度，在加拿大相对来讲从事的人少，那其实这个就是给大家一个蓝海嘛，我们叫 blue ocean red ocean， 就红海就是所有人都在里面，这个赛道极度拥挤，这个叫红海。那这个就是蓝海，他从事的人少，就是我们首先你要想清楚，将来你不管是大学申请也好，还是你就业也好，你是跟谁在竞争？你是跟你现在周围的人。我说的再明确一点，是跟你现在周围的这些同学在竞争，同年级的。所以如果这个项目当中参与的人少，那换句话说，你的竞争就少，那你脱颖而出的机会就多。这个我们就是从策略的角度上来讲来讲哈，但是不管刚才我说的第一点也好，这是主流项目，在美国有多么的流行，多少孩子都参与，或者在加拿大它是多么的这种蓝海，它一定要建立在一个基础上，就是孩子要喜欢，他们要有兴趣，他们要有这个热情。你不能他在蓝海，你说我不喜欢，他可能也走不远，好吗？就是说，但是我们要从策略上，我们的家长。我们为什么用中文讲这段话？因为是给家长讲，就我们的家长要提醒孩子们有一些策略，我们的方向一定要很清楚，然后呢，让他建立在孩子的这种兴趣和热情上，好吗？好，
那下面就是进入答疑。
来，我们看看有没有问题啊？
我们的所有的 in person 的比赛很多都是在美国in person 的比赛，大型的好像加拿大还不多那我作为 Linda Key Montreal 这个比赛管理的怎么说呢？是啥 title 啊？校长？
我们的这个我们的课程部主任，我们的比赛。
如果是线下的比赛的话呢，整个如果没有特殊情况的话，都是由我带几天的时间我会和学生一起 travel 吃住所有的行程监护都是由我来照顾他们那个所以如果家长对我本人比较信任的话呢，那就不要担心这个整个这个比赛期间孩子的生活安全方方面面这都是由我来负责的就是说在这里跟大家说一下。然后我们所有的这种 in person 的比赛，在整个比赛期间，我们都成立一个家长群。那在每一个环节，我都会实时报道我们这个团队的进展放大量的文字的说明，放大量的图片在家长群里，就是让你有一种就足不出户就跟孩子一块儿云游了整个比赛这样的一个观感这个也是Linda Key 的 debate 的比赛和 Montreal 的比赛因为都是由我来负责嘛，所以我都能做到这一点。但是如果我要是请假了，由别人来代替的话，这个我不好说。
另外
我尽可能的不请假这个过程的都是在我的掌控之下。
对，另外我跟大家讲一下，我不知道你们知不知道潘老师，潘老师我们 Montreal 的课程部主任了，负责我们整个这个项目，当然也负责比赛。潘老师同时还是我们大都地区很著名的这个我们藤校申请的顾问，所以换句话说，你们跟着 Montreal 队出去比赛的时候，你们是可以 access 我们多伦多最有经验的这个藤校申请的顾问所以这个巨大的好处给你们。 我问题好像一大堆鼓掌在那儿，没问题。哦，有一个，我刚看那儿拍，
小学
关键
2年级，这
关
个
键拍手。小学2年级有点小哈，我给你个建议好吗？那小学2年级，我觉得你最好就是说培养他一些阅读的习惯。阅读呢，很多人问我阅读应该读什么东西？阅读我觉得分成2个阶段，第一个阶段呢叫随意性阅读，或者叫这个娱乐性阅读，就是我们叫开卷有益啊，你只要读就好，读什么都好，我们都可以鼓励他。慢慢随着他年龄的增长，有的孩子早一点，有的孩子晚一点，他可以过渡到这种刻意性阅读，就是真正去找一些东西是他自己希望读的，或者对他能够有帮助的这些内容哈。那2年级的小朋友，我觉得一定是随意性阅读，鼓励他多阅读鼓励他把英文学好，然后等到他4、5年级的时候，送他来参加我们的 public speaking 然后再大一点的时候就可以参加 mock trial， 好吗？2年级的时候离 mock trial 的这个年龄稍微有一点点早。还有没有其他问题？
大家可以把问题放在对话框里，也可以直接把你的麦克风打开。
或者你们有问题问这些我们的 mock trial 的学生也可以哈。
我们现场还有几个学生在，
然后问问他们真正的这种切身的体会。
建宇、Angela、Sunny 都在 ，Candice 走了，文琪在线上学生们也可以回答问题，还有我们2个教练都在大家可以把问题放在
你们
对话框里，也可
以
以直接打开你的麦克风，直接 unmute 你自己，直接
I know
直接来问话也是可以的。线上还有问题吗？还有，
我们就可以把线上可以跟大家那什么晚安了。No, we're not.
录像可以以后观看吗？可以的我们的小助手可能需要1到2天的时间来制作这个录像然后大家可以向小助手索要这个录像的连接。
Everything is through there.
还有其他的问题吗？线上今天分享的都是女孩儿
你把那个打开那个。
今天对男生参与并取得成绩有啥建议吗？
来，男生。
我觉得建议其实最大的建议就是听上去可能有点老生常谈，就最大的建议是参与，因为女生的比例高，是因为你来我们的课上看，确实女生的比例高，因为我们课上基本都是女生，所以得奖的基本都是女生。然后如果具体一点的建议的话，我觉得就是之前就是大家讲的，就是要对这件事情比较上心嘛，然后可能我们就是需要大家对这件事情比较上心，然后需要花很多时间，需要和队友一起去做这些训练什么的。然后有些男生可能比较忙，时间管理可能同样的年纪，女生的时间管理可能稍微好一点。那在这方面可能。但我觉得，一般我们就是 debate 或者 model 院也做的学生，这方面其实问题不会特别大，主要是我们真的男生人数不多，所以有这个情况。像我去参加第1年就拿奖了，所以说男生没有什么特别的，男生拿不到奖，女生拿到奖。那你就算去美国看，其实美国队伍也是女生多，男生少，对吧，潘老师？美国队伍一个队7、8个人，也可能就1、2个男生，也不是3、4个男生、3、4个女生。
男生有很多更加是。
对，校长的眼力就是校长的眼光比我高，对吧？所以，
有，之前有。
然后我们拿奖的队伍上也有过男生，所以其实也不是，但是其实真的大队伍绝大多数都是女生，所以这个事情其实。到了法学院反而反过来，好像我认识身边法学院的学生反而男生多，所以说这个可能和每个年龄段大家的特征也有关系，可能所以我觉得没有特别的建议。如果真的要有一些建议的话，还是要 多阅读，阅读真的很重要，因为不管男生女生都会有学生在比赛的时候感觉阅读这个跟不上，其实这个蛮重要的。而且如果你之后本科要读社会科学类的，或者人文类的，或者你要读法学院的话，其实阅读真的蛮重要的。所以多阅读，在家里有时间不要老刷 TikTok，多阅读。
那个我多说一句啊，然后你说问题。那个我半开玩笑跟大家讲一下，其实我觉得是这样的，就是男孩子呢，有可能有的时候他在10几岁的时候，他的成熟度比女孩子稍微晚一点。然后呢，有的时候觉得稍微那个害羞程度好像比女孩子要高一点，这就为什么女孩子一般冲在前面去多一些。其实坦白讲，你去看 debate， 甚至我不知道你们有没有仔细观察过，像 debate 的 MUN， 如果绝对数字的话，女孩子也是比男孩子多。啊，就是我们这个男生，稍微的有一点点往后面跑啊，往躲在后面。其实我们的家长，如果你家里有男孩的家长，我再跟你们讲一句话，你们应该鼓励他们站出来，让鼓励我们这些男孩子，这个站出来，然后这个加入我们哈。来，建宇妈妈。
哎，就是我想问的，就是说，因为现在小孩刚刚也讲到说，这些孩子都特别忙嘛，然后一个是有 debate，然后有 MUN，然后 Montreal，现在还有那个 DECA，像这几样就是语言类的嘛，像他们到10年级或者甚至到11年级，那课程也会越来越多，到时候又要去抓那个课程的这个学业的分数啊，这种情况下的话，就是如果科学的来讲，这些孩子这种比赛啊。就是保留几样会比较合适。
保留几个哈，
对
这个我先说一句啊，然后看看我们潘老师，因为我跟潘老师我们都做这个升学辅导了，我先讲讲我自己的想法啊，很快啊，因为我们的时间关系了，我们不能完全展开讲。我觉得是这样，就是我没有说绝对的数字到底几个，但通常来讲，2到3个是很常见，2到3个是很常见的。你比如说。像Sandy 他是 debate 跟 mock trial，那有的孩子是 debate 和 MUN， 有的孩子是 debate 和 DECA， 有的孩子是 mock trial 和 DECA， 就每个孩子组合不一样。2到3个是非常非常常见的，这是我想说的第一件事情。我想说第二件事情，很多家长在讲说，这么多事情，我功课已经很忙了，尤其到了11年级之后，如果你们是在 IB 或者 AP program 里面，你会很忙，这个我们一定是承认这一点的。但是我们这么讲，你要从招生官的角度去想问题。你从招生官的角度，假设你是招生官，我们2个都是这个毕业生，都是申请人，对不对？那我们俩同样的条件，可是他做的事情比我多，而且他做的比我还好，那你会录谁嘛？这很简单的道理，对不对？所以就是说。如果你的目标想要去申请刚才像Sunny这样的这种藤校、这种头部大学，那你就要想办法打造你的竞争力。我说个不太这个听着有点这个比较冷的话哈，就是说你不能做到的，其他人能做到，那你的竞争力就比不上人家嘛。这听着有点不太温暖，但是实际上道理就是这么个道理啊。就是家长们，我们想明白一点。当然，这个事情一定是要建立在，我再说一遍，刚才也讲过了，建立在他喜欢的基础上，而不是说你强迫他、你压着他去做这件事情，那也做不来的。就他喜欢，其实我觉得我们家长应该支持他。啊，潘老师有什么问题？
基本同意啊，基本同意，就2到3个很正常。但是，作为规划师。实际上我们在孩子低年级的时候，更重要的是培养他的时间管理能力，还有学习的方法，提高学习效率。就是你一定要做到用一半儿，或者是少于一半儿你的 free time， 就是课堂之后的时间你只花一半儿。或者少于一半的时间在学校的功课上，然后你同时又能维持校内的功课很优异你才能够在课外去做更多的课外活动。你如果说为了达到学校的功课成绩优异，我所谓的优异就是平均分怎么也得93、94、95之上吧 啊，你为了达到这个，你需要花70%到80%你的课后时间的话，啊，那你基本上就剩不下什么时间去搞课外活动了。所以说，你能做几项活动，是取决于你个人的能力啊。这个能力里面就包括很多个层面了，啊，你从小到大的你的习惯、你的思维习惯、你的行为习惯、你的自律性啊。你的学习方法、你的学习效率、你的时间管理，所有的这些会决定了你至少需要多少时间来满足校内成绩达到优异这样的要求，然后你剩下的时间你才可以用它去搞活动，对吧？所以说你搞活动你搞几个，那有的孩子他搞的活动不多，2、3样，但是每一样都做得很精。啊，我之前辅导过孩子，活动不多，但是每一样都能冲进国家队。你有一样活动冲进国家队，你基本上1支半的脚都踏进藤校了。那半支是文书，是推荐信，对吧？但也有孩子课余时间呢，他搞了很多样，他哪一样也没有搞出很好的成绩，那我不认为会有特别好的学校会给他发 offer。所以说，这还存在着一个规划和课外活动设计的问题。啊，所以就是解决2点，一个是校内的啊这些个最基本的要求，你要怎么提高效率，怎么提高你的这个成绩；再一个就是你的课后的这些个活动，你如何去规划，如何去寻找到你喜欢、你擅长的东西，你能够出成绩啊，就是数量、质量要优于数量，我们要的是质量，而不是光是数量。你光去凑那个活动列表的这个数量，而没有质量，这个也不行啊。你做的活动，我们在于精，而不在于滥竽充数啊。这个是作为规划师的，我们需要考虑的2个点。好，线上没有问题了，那我们把线上就关掉了啊。如果大家还有问题的话，可以啊。我在最后把我们的那个2个二维码再放一下 ，OK， 然后那还得 share 吧，还得 share 一下。刚才二维码时间有点短，我担心家长没有看清楚。好，这2个二维码大家可以快速的拿手机照个照片，或者是截一下你的电脑的屏啊，需要的话可以加入进来。好了，那我们今天的讲座就到这里了，祝大家晚安啊！感谢大家的参与有问题可以随时找我们。那让我们最后再表示一下对今天5个学生分享嘉宾和2位教练，two coaches Anthony and Anna Sophia 感谢他们花时间来 put everything together and share all those important and valuable information to all of us. Thank you and good night.